I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-magob, it's time for the only news that matters on Black Sabbath Sunday. And Tony Iommi hasn't properly set his Black Sabbath bandmate Bill Ward on fire since 1980. After an over-enthusiastic pyrotechnic prank in a London recording studio left the drummer with third-degree burns, and promptly furious phone call from Bill Ward's enraged mother. The easygoing Bill Ward was something of a whipping boy for Iommi, Ozzy Osbourne, and Geezer Butler when the mischievous trio were bored, drunk, or high, and was regularly targeted with dangerous, stupid pranks. There was, for instance, the time in 1972 when, staying in a Los Angeles mansion while recording Volume 4 at the Record Plant studio, the trio sprayed the hapless drummer head to toe with gold paint, only realizing that it was a bad idea when Ward went into convulsions. You know, because back then, man, I mean, you're painting flesh where the pores of your body all over your body is what gets oxygen. So when you paint over it, you don't get no oxygen. So he ended up going into the hospital. And in a 2016 interview with The Guardian, Iommi admitted, "The ambulance people gave us right bollocking. Said, 'You idiots, you could have killed them.' They gave him adrenaline and we had to use paint stripper to get it off." Clearly learning absolutely nothing from this foolishness, during the same album session, Ozzy Osbourne sprayed Ward's penis with blue paint while the drummer was urinating. "You should have heard the screams, man," Ozzy reflected in his 2009 autobiography, I Am Ozzy. He said, "It was priceless." But then 2 seconds later, Bill blacks out, falls headfirst off the railing, and starts rolling down the hillside. Damn. Paint-related pranks on pause. For years, Sabbath had to make do with setting their drummer on fire, a habit Iommi called the group's party piece. This came to an end, however, in 1980 during the mixing sessions of Heaven and Hell. Iommi over-enthusiasm for the deed in question left the drummer with horrific burns. To be fair, Iommi could argue that Ward was asking for it, because technically he did ask Iommi whether he could expect to be set ablaze, a comment made in the presence of legendary producer Martin Birch. Iommi recalls making a routine inquiry about the possibility of torturing the drummer, only for Ward to brush aside the suggestion, saying, Now, Tony." Perhaps weary of upsetting Sabbath's Dark Lord, Ward brought the subject up once more later that same evening, telling Iommi, with commendable good manners, "I'm going home now. You still want to set me on fire or what?" "I tip rubbing alcohol over him," Iommi remembered. "Normally, it just burns off, but this time it soaked into his clothes. So when I lit it up, he went up like a bomb. He was rolling on the floor, shouting and screaming. I thought it was part of a joke, so I poured more stuff on him. Martin couldn't believe it. We had to get an ambulance for Bill. He had third-degree burns, and I felt bloody awful. And the guitarist would feel even worse when he received a phone call from Ward's understandably very pissed off mother. His mother called me on the phone and said, 'You barmy bastard. It's about time you grew up. Our Bill is going to have his leg off.'" Iommi recalled in an interview with Guitar World. She exaggerated a bit things like that were regular occurrence with Bill. And Bill Ward walked from Black Sabbath on August 21st, 1980, without saying goodbye to Iommi. Under the circumstances, his irritation with the guitarist may have been somewhat understandable, to be fair. Oh my God, poor Bill Ward, man. Bill Ward got messed with throughout the whole career, and remember back in 2011, they screwed him over, man. I mean, nobody stood up for Bill. Everybody just listened to the managers. And then in retrospect, after years gone by, first Iommi says, well, I have no idea why Bill wasn't there. Yeah, sure you don't. Go ask Ozzy and Geezer, both their wives were in charge of the management at the time. I guess, Tony didn't, but man, they screwed him over so bad. He's Bill fucking Ward, the greatest drummer in my world. Nobody better than Bill Ward. I'll give you one example, and if you want, give this a pause and go listen to what Bill Ward does during the guitar solo of Sweet Leaf, and tell me the guy is not godly. It just pisses me off how, they screwed him over at the end. But man, what a good sport poor Bill is, man. Bill's like even asking, hey, you gonna set me on fire? He was a punching bag. I know when they were doing Sabbath, they messed with him at at the castle they were recording in, and he thought it was haunted, which, they said it was haunted. And he ended up never coming back. He drove away from the place, which was many, many miles, only to return the next day, but he kept leaving, because I forgot what the story was. I think they put like fishing line on a painting or something, and it moved, they were pulling it, and it was moving by itself. That's what it looked like to Bill Ward, and he freaked out and left. I mean, they didn't play this prank on Ozzy or Geezer or Tony. It was only to poor Bill Ward, man. He just seems like such a gentle killer soul, Bill Ward. And, when Tony made him fire Ozzy over the phone, it just wasn't the same. And Bill said he didn't even remember really recording Heaven and Hell because he was so bad, in alcoholism. He was just a mess. But, he ended up doing the tour, the Europe tour, and then he quit. But, Ronnie James Dio, well, Bill Ward said that Ronnie James Dio was extremely understanding of Bill's problem and how Bill had to get off the road because, Bill thought he was going to die. He probably would have, man. And, then he got clean and he came back and he did the Born Again album only to fall back into the, alcoholism. So he couldn't tour, which was a bummer to me because at the time, I never seen Bill Ward live. I saw the Heaven and Hell tour, but by then it was Vinny Appice. And then I saw the Born Again tour, but by then it was Bev Bevan. I didn't see Bill Ward return to Black Sabbath till, what was that, the 99 or the 2000 Ozfest? That was amazing because it was the first night of that tour. So Ozzy sounded amazing. It was one of the best times I ever seen him sound because, the first show of the tour. And if you see Ozzy live, Ozzy screams his ass off in between songs, telling people to go crazy. And it affects his voice, and then he sounds like shit later in the tour. Which I know, because I've seen many Ozzy shows later on in the tour where he sounds like absolute shit. But that night, he was on. And I really did. I'm serious about saying this. I had a religious experience. I really did. I felt like an out-of-body experience while they were playing Sweet Leaf, what I just talked about earlier. Them playing Sweet Leaf, I don't know why it was that song, but, I'm there looking at my favorite band of all time, Black Sabbath, finally together with the four members, because I saw it the year before with that guy from Faith No More, and that guy sucked for Black Sabbath. It just didn't work for me. Bill Ward coming back, and Bill Ward was awesome that night. And I saw a couple more Sabbath reunions after that, but the first one was by far the best. So I can say that I saw the original Black Sabbath after what, 30 somewhat years of wanting to see them. Finally got around to doing it. But there you go, man. What a crazy story. What do you all think? Fucking poor Bill Ward getting set on fire and stuff. And leave it in the comments below. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring that little notification bell. And if you are subscribed to my channel, please check to see if you're still subscribed, because people are getting unsubscribed for no reason, and that blows. So come back if you are unsubscribed, because I miss the hell out of you. And I love you all for watching The Only News That Matters. You all rule, man. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath with Bill Ward, because he's fire. And schmack-em-a-gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston, and so never more shall we see you again.